very pleased to present the Global Grand Challenge Award in the Learning category. This was actually our most fiercely contested category. I believe we had more entrants in this field than any of the others, and we spent a good while deliberating between the different participants. Singularity University aims to create a world where access to information and experiences that build knowledges and skills for all people at all stages of their lives for personal fulfillment and benefit to society can take place. That's the way we've defined education, super broadly, so as to encompass a very wide array of initiatives. Now, you may know the ed tech industry has become a multi-billion-dollar industry over the last few years, clocking in somewhere around $3 billion this year, almost adding $1 billion each year. Some estimates are that there are about 10,000 new ed tech startups globally every year. So this field is wildly developing, and there are so many different approaches to leveraging technology for learning objectives. One of the things that a lot of people understand and follow in the edtech space is MOOCs, massive open online courses. And a lot of people were super excited in 2011 and 2012. Some of the evangelists and investors and owners of MOOCs were up on stage talking about how having made that content free would result in raised education outcomes all over the world, that it would solve education's problems. We've discovered that that isn't the case, but one of the interesting things that it's created is a little bit of an industry of other companies trying to redeem the potential of MOOCs, trying to take that content and help it to achieve its potential. So I wanted to give an honorable mention to two of the companies that won't be on stage today that are doing that in one way or another. One of them is Kepler, who've been working to figure out how to take MOOC content and get it in the hands of students in Rwanda. They've had that there, a university, a really light framework university that they've put up there that's pushing MOOC content, and they're now taking the jump and bringing that higher level education to refugee camps. So it's a very promising innovation that UNICEF and others are getting behind. Another one of our companies was Mentiv, who are helping to make MOOCs more of a team sport. So instead of going at it on your own, they're creating a supportive ecosystem for the learners in that area. Now, the elephant in the room, though, is that beyond the basics, beyond reading, writing, and arithmetic, we're starting to not know what we should teach people, right? All these different careers and industries are collapsing around us. And you might hear technologists stand up and emphasize science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM careers, and they'll talk about reskilling. But it kind of ignores the fact that the global freelance movement is eroding wages, and AI at the same time is getting to the point where it can program an app, it can build a web page, it can create a virtual world that it would take you billions of years to explore relatively quickly. And at the same time, people stand on stage and say, oh, you should drop out of school and you should start a business. This is advice which we know is reckless and borderline unethical if it's given to people who are living at or below the poverty line. So tomorrow's EdTech initiatives are going to be solutions that immediately and permanently help to reduce the financial vulnerabilities of some of the world's least fortunate people. And they're also likely to help de-risk entrepreneurialism by leveraging cooperative skills and teamwork. So I'm going to pass the mic, and I'm going to let the other three judges for this panel introduce themselves before we bring our first team on.
Thank you so much. So I'm Anne, and I'm heading the Global University Alliance Network at SAP and SAP Next Gen Lab, which consists of a huge crowdsourcing platform. We have 3,000 universities in more than 100 countries, which is important for the diversity of ideations and ideas that we bring out to our 300,000 SAP customers worldwide. So what I'm saying here is that learning for us is key to bring out to the world, to the next generation of everything that we have heard about the last couple of 3 days. And those people are working with the biggest enterprise of the world. So you can say in SAP, we use the exponential methodology crowdsourcing in a very, very scalable way. I would like to pass over to Bernd.
Thanks, Anne. Yeah, my name is Bernd Welz. I'm also with SAP, and I'm running the digital learning services for SAP and also EdTech innovation. Just to share a little bit the learning story of SAP. SAP is in the software business for 44 years, and most of the time inviting people to our training centers was good enough. Now our ecosystem has grown that much and we have that many customers, and more importantly, the innovation cycles are now so short that it's not enough to get your SAP certification once and then and then, you know, be in the job for 5 years, 10 years with a little bit of upgrade. So that's why we started to use exponential technology. We experimented with MOOCs. We now have, only after 3 years, 7 times more people learning SAP technology on our digital platforms than people who come to our training centers still. And what's also more important, they continuously learn. The consumption of knowledge has increased 4 times. Okay, so that's our interest in learning. I pass over to Michael.
Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Michael Zakaras, and I work at Ashoka. Ashoka is the world's largest network of social entrepreneurs, with more than 3,000 in 70 countries. And by far the largest cohort of those social entrepreneurs work in the field of learning and education. And many of the insights and patterns that we've seen emerge from their work have actually influenced Ashoka's evolution as an organization and its entry into the learning space. Everything from a Start Empathy initiative, which focuses on early education and prioritizing empathy as much as reading and math, all the way up through higher education with Ashoka U, which is a network of now more than 30 campuses, university campuses around the world that are setting sort of the standard for how to build a culture of social innovation and change-making in higher ed.
Thank you. And the team that we're inviting out, the winners of the Global Grand Challenge Learning Award, are called Smart Stones. And one of the notable things about this organization is that they're tackling the problem of bringing access to folks who are struggling with disabilities. People who have struggled with disabilities are often the last to be served by new technologies and even traditional education systems. So it's a real challenge that they undertook, and they've got a lot of promise. Please put your hands together for Smart Stones.
Thank you, everybody. Let me start off this presentation with a quick video.
If you can imagine not being able to talk, she can't communicate like you or I. You can imagine not having a voice.
I have been working for years to get a system that works for Mia. But when she grabbed Pros, I want Play-Doh.
I want Play-Doh. Play-Doh. Panda.
I want Play-Doh.
Panda. I love Panda.
I want Play-Doh. I like your sentence.
The reason why we're doing what we're doing is because we want to democratize voice for millions of people. What we do with the EEG is we take the data that comes from your brainwaves to have Pros speak a phrase out loud. Liz is now able to think, and Pros speaks on her behalf.
Keep smiling. Let's get a good smile.
So smile for yes and push away for no.
Yes.
Liz, you just did it!
Communication is everything for her.
I want it to impact the rest of their lives.
Using brain and facial inputs. I mean, this is history. And you're watching. The world we're going to create is that every single person, regardless of your ability, is going to be able to communicate.
I love you.
It's just going to happen.
Thank you so much. So a little introduction. My name's Andreas Forsland. I'm the founder and CEO of Smart Stones. We make this great technology that serves a very large part of our world. There's over 1 billion people with communication disabilities. The largest segment is the nonverbal segment, which is comprised of people that have autism, ALS, spinal cord injuries, brain injuries, strokes, etc. We're starting by supporting this community in the areas of education. We believe that when we can access communication at a young age, your odds of increasing your quality of life through education and going and getting a fruitful life and an independent life beyond school is really paramount. Unemployment rates are very low for people with developmental disabilities and communication disabilities. However, if you think about children with autism, many of which are extremely high functioning and test better than you or I on standard tests. So we believe that communication is really the greatest enabler for integrating our society. If you think about Peter Diamandis' quote on Sunday about a new 1 to 3 billion people going to need to access the internet, this population is going to be a large percentage of those net new users on the internet, and they're going to need an open, global, standard sensory communication interface to be able to interface with their data and with other people. So real quickly, look to the person next to you and imagine we have 370 million people in the world. The US population is 320. So imagine all 1,400 of us can't talk. Look to your neighbor and try and say something without saying it. How would you do it? Therein lies the problem. So let me just do a quick demo. So I'll just try and demo this on my phone.
Hello, my name is Andreas. What's your name? Was that easy? Yes.
With simple body language translated into speech, we've developed an interface that not only is easy to use, but it accelerates children's ability to learn how to communicate. It reduces their behavioral tendencies, which require intervention, and increases their focus to engage with the content and with their teachers and their community. So what we're doing is building the most accessible platform. So 85% of the users are using our app on iOS devices and mobile devices. For those outside of the normal physical abilities, folks who aren't able to use their hands and arms, we integrate via Bluetooth all kinds of sensory devices. So we've got the Apple Watch that integrates as a remote control for our technology, a SmartStones Touch, and the latest, which is an integration with EEG to basically mentally command the app to speak on your behalf. What's underneath that technology, if you have questions about it, I'm running low on time, so come and see me. I'm happy to explain what's behind it. But there's a tremendous amount of technology around pattern recognition and being able to contextualize an individual's message. So besides the social impact, there's also a huge financial impact. The Economist magazine recently published an article that stated that about 2% of the US GDP goes towards supporting individuals with autism. Of $18.5 trillion, $370 billion of that goes towards supporting 3 million people. So for $120 a year, or $9.99 a month, or 30 cents a day, we can give a voice to all 3 million people in the US K through 12 that need this. So currently we're working with the New York Department of Education. District 75 has almost 25,000 children who can't communicate. And today they just announced that they're going to be using our technology in their schools to all of their principals across the New York City Department of Education. Over 1 million children will be able to interface with children who can't talk in a brand new way. So if you have additional questions about how they're using our technology as a new inclusive classroom, please come see me. Thank you.